Hey folks, today I want to talk about the principle of specificity, or the S.A.I.D Principle. S.A.I.D stands for Specific Adaptations to Imposed Demands. This means the demands imposed upon an organism will result in specific adaptations relative to those demands. Hence, the S.A.I.D Principle reflects the concept of cause and effect, in that results are determined by the nature of an exercise program as it relates to an individual's needs, goals, abilities, and limitations. To put it another way, to adapt specifically towards an intended goal, the demands imposed must be specific so that the result will be the intended goal. If your goal is to produce an adaptation for larger muscles, the demands imposed must be specific so that the result will be larger muscles. The prescription cannot be contrary, such as endurance training or yoga, and it must correspond to the abilities of the individual in question. There are no degrees of specificity. Either something is entirely specific or it is not. Either a physical movement is entirely specific or it is not. Specific means explicit, particular, or definite, not sort of or similar to. For example, throwing a baseball ounces heavier than a ball that would be normally thrown is no longer specific and puts you at risk of hindering your pitching accuracy. Negative transferal effects on motor skills occur since the nervous system controls the muscles, thus producing a specific pattern and motor neuron firing rate sequence in accordance to any specific practice movement. Once that motor pattern is altered or challenged by making slight adjustments, it can have a negative outcome on the original neuromuscular outcome. A similar philosophy has been adapted by strength coaches for athletic teams, often incorporating explosive exercise in hopes they will lead to more explosive ability in the game. The skills of power cleaning cannot be transferred to the skills of sprinting or dodging in football. So to summarize this, there is no specific exercise that is going to translate to a sport-specific movement. There is no exercise you can do that's going to make you better at throwing a football or having a better slap shot in hockey. But if you focus on getting stronger with a sound, appropriately prescribed exercise program, it will translate into everything. But if you want to improve a skill for a sport, you have to practice that specific skill. Let's take football, for example, okay? You have tons of different positions. You have quarterback, you have wide receiver, you have running back. If your quarterback gets hurt, which just happened to Aaron Rodgers, like the first drive of this season, he might be out for the whole year. If your quarterback gets hurt, you cannot bring in your running back and have him play quarterback. It doesn't work like that. The skills are not transferable for those positions. So that should illustrate to you how the skill of performing an Olympic lift, such as like a barbell clean and press, is not going to translate into anything on the field. It's not going to make you better at any specific position on the football field. If you're looking to improve a sport-specific skill, such as throwing a football or your slap shot in hockey, you need to perform that skill and that exact activity, okay? If you're looking to build strength, you need to follow a strength program that is tailored and prescribed to your individual needs, abilities, goals, and limitations. If you're looking to produce a stimulus that will result in the adaptation of larger muscles, then the demands imposed must be specific so that the result will be larger muscles, which means you need to train progressively, you need to train to muscular failure, you need to allow enough time to recover, you need to be on point with your nutrition, you need to be on point with your sleep. You need to logbook everything so that you can ensure you're making progress. Every time you come into the gym, you're going to try to beat the weights and reps you used last time, okay? And on the topic of specific adaptation to impose demands, I want to talk about something I see people getting wrong in the gym still. The burn sensation that you're feeling when you're training doesn't necessarily mean effective. What do I mean by that? Let's use an example. Someone wants to really build their lower body, specifically their glutes, the largest, most powerful muscles in your body. Do you think that doing glute bands or hip abductions or, single leg bridges where you can really feel a good burn in your glutes is a specific enough demand for the growth of large, muscular, powerful glutes? Or do you think something more like really heavy RDL or barbell squat, ass to the ground with a couple 100 pounds is going to stimulate larger, more powerful glutes? The answer is obvious, guys. It's going to be the larger, heavier compound movements like the deadlifts and squats that will drive the adaptation for larger glute muscles, okay? I see a lot of people getting confused by going for more of the feeling versus progressive overload. The answer is always going to be progressive overload. Yeah, I can feel my glutes burn really bad if I just use glute bands and I stretch them out, or if I get on the hip abduction machine and I just do like 30 reps, I can really feel my glutes. But I can promise you, they're not going to get the same stimulus and they're not going to get the same response as heavy RDLs or really deep squats, okay? People are bringing a scalpel to the gym for their sets when they really need to be bringing a sledgehammer, okay? So remember, if you want larger muscles, you need to impose a demand that will result in the specific adaptation of larger muscles, meaning heavy compound movements through progressive overload, and just repeat that. Get stronger, stronger, and stronger in these basic movements. All right, guys. Well, I hope that helps with some of the confusion revolving, sports as it relates to exercise and how to, improve sport-specific skills versus just overall strength. Remember, strength is general and it applies to everything. So obviously focus on getting stronger, but if you want to get better at any of those sports-specific skills, you're going to have to practice those separately, okay? There is no transference from one to another. Hope this helps, guys. If you have any questions, as always, just ask, comment, message me. I'll be happy to help. And again, guys, remember, when it comes to your training, be specific.